We are here with border crossings. Today is the 29th of October. It is a Wednesday. My name is Siliga Sani.
My name is Siliga Sani Muliaumaseali'i.
So basically, what we're going to start by doing is I was wondering if you could tell me about your upbringing.
Okay. Now? Okay, so I'm Samoan. That's my race, if you like. Samoa, which is an island in South Pacific. I was born and raised in Aotearoa, New Zealand. So a lot of the immigrants a lot of the Samoans came from Samoa to New Zealand to help build the economy. And so I have 8 siblings. There's 9 of us all together. And so I was raised in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland. Just your general upbringing in an inner city child. So we grew up in the sort of like Dawson like area of Tamaki, Auckland. Raised in the church, lots of family around. At that particular time, my generation, people were Samoan speaking. So our parents could speak Samoan. We were surrounded by Samoan communities. They were the first wave of immigrants to come to Aotearoa from the Pacific. So, but now it's changed because you've had subsequent generations and the language is slowly, it's been a challenge to maintain it. But I'm proudly Samoan.
Do you think that being Samoan has been a big part of the trajectory that you've got in life?
I don't think you can escape it. I think even if you try to escape your heritage, so, and we were brought up to be proud of being a Samoan, even though the markers around us were saying, you need to assimilate and be part of the system. We particularly were not allowed to speak English at home. So even though English was like a big sea around us, our home was like a small island. We were only allowed to speak Samoan. If you step out of line, like speaking English, you get a smack. Which is very effective. And now I can speak Samoan, so I'm really glad.
How do you feel about the way that rooted your identity? The idea of in what really is a Western facing world and having the opposite of what usually happens is usually from people who are not from the global north. There's a pressure to speak English at home or speak whatever Western language that you're directly associated with.
Mm.
Do you think that it was a hindrance, or do you have an appreciation for the idea that your parents fought so hard for you to be able to?
Yes, I appreciate it because we have someone said in Samoan, "Whatauwelo nganganga o lo whasinomanga lea," which means make your language a priority. That is your identity. And there's lots of concepts you can't translate into English or German or whatever. That is our language from our ancestors, from our soul, our spirit. So maintain that in your body, in your everyday, gives you the strength gives me the strength to be Samoan or Tongan or Fijian, whatever it is, in the ever-changing world. It grounds you. And my ancestors, my great-grandfather was a freedom fighter against the Germans when the Germans occupied Samoa. So he was part of the Mo movement who were campaigning for sovereignty. And then he was banished with 72 other Samoans and members of the Mo to Saipan, which was a German colony at the time, because they were troublemakers, if you like. So we've had that. That's in our cliche. It's in our DNA. It's in to maintain that, to have that warrior spirit, to fight for yourself, for who you are and what you believe and where you come from, and your culture, our culture. Mm.
So could you lay out the journey into opera that you've had?
Sure.
And theatre and performance in general as a practitioner?
Okay, so I sing. I don't call myself an opera singer or an act. So I sing or I act or I write or because we are we're not what we're kind of what we do. We're not. It's not our full identity. It's part of what we, of who we are. But I will sing opera, or I will sing pop, or I write a song. So Samoans sing a lot. Everyone sings. I mean, you will step off the plane in Samoa, and you'll hear singing. You drive through the villages, and everyone's singing either hymns or choirs practicing, and it's all in our we sing and dance. It's just part of who we are. So being a singer, I feel like, is not anything really special because everybody does it. But we enjoy each other singing. So I was singing in church choirs, and then went to high school, or and then just started entering talent quests in nightclubs when I was at high school, and then got a scholarship to have singing lessons, which I took, and started to learn that side of singing. And my older brother, is also an opera singer as well. So we've had that sort of style of singing in our life. So we're the first wave of opera singers. So I was the first tenor, and then there's the first baritone was my uncle cousin, Josefa Enari, who passed away. So we're the pioneers. We started the wave of, well, obviously we started the wave, but we're the first ones to appear on the scene who Pacifica Samoans, or Tonans, or so the first pioneers of that. So subsequently people could see that there's a possibility that you could do this career or this life, which is a hard life, I tell you that much. I was talking to a colleague the other day and saying, it's really lonely being an opera singer, especially if you're from the Pacific or a really tight family, because you come from this family full. We talked a bit earlier about people who love you, and suddenly you're in another country where no one, if you fell off the side of a road, who would know who you are? Who cares? So to come from that, you're always traveling, so seeing a hotel, airport, opera house, that sort of thing. So to get used to that lifestyle is something that's jarring, and you need a certain steel, which you have to develop in any big city, So yeah. So and then did I answer the question? I can't remember. But yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's okay.
However
you feel, there's no right or wrong answers to any of this. Being a pioneer seems like something that is obviously something to be proud of. But I was wondering how you feel about potentially how that makes you feel.
Yeah, I'm proud of it. I guess I didn't think about it when I was doing it. We just did it. We just told you to do it, so you do it. So I was do it. Okay, so you do it. Yeah, I think it's something. How do I feel about it now? When I see the new crop of opera singers coming up, there are a few of them, and they're all amazing. I actually went to see Aboyt the Samoan tenor, his brother's Billy Patti, make his debut at the Royal Ballet and Opera last week. And it was just great to see, and he was so good. Like, beautiful to look at, beautiful voice, great technique. And I thought, wow, because the rolling thing's not easy. I was like, I was ready. Oh, you did that really well. So it's great to see that. I also get concerned about how much of ourselves we can maintain and contain, because it's such a demanding art form, and it's the art form of a culture is the expression of its soul. So to learn the soul of another culture is it at the detriment of your own, and how much of your own can you keep and preserve, so you're not fully involved in that other, or maybe you're strong enough to do both. I don't think I was strong enough to do both, to be honest with you. I was trying to keep my language up, just because I didn't speak Italian, German, French, or these other languages, and but also maintain my own, because otherwise, who am I as a Samoan in this rubbish heap that we call, yeah.
But do you think that there ever is a balance?
I think you can come to compromise. Sure, you either care about stuff, or you don't care, or you can be accepting, or another word for that was resigned to an understanding. Yeah, of course. Yeah. And some days I feel really Samoan. Some days I feel less so. Especially living in a country like here in London. I mean, actually, you can sometimes feel more Samoan here. But when I go to Samoa, I feel kind of Samoan because that's like But I've been there heaps, 4 times this year. And I go there and teach at the university, give concerts, look after people's cats. I know it's great. It's great. It's great. But I also, when you talk to the younger people and their aspirations, and it's inspiring. I'm thinking, wow, this is a great place to be, and just understanding what the world's like once you leave this very safe home, really home.
Yeah.
You just have to carry those principles and what you've been taught over to where you're going to create your new home. Hopefully, you can recreate that love and secure safety. Although you can't be safe if you're going to do something, you have to be brave and go out there. But it's lovely to see the kids and to see their development in this art form, the understanding that their true strength and beauty lies in what they're doing and living every day there. Do you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that there was a particular moment where you realized that this is the path I'd like to go on and I'm going to really fight for this?
I think I always wanted to be a singer. Never, ever wanted to be anything else. Ever since I can remember, I just knew. I was at school and I was 12 and said, where to fill out these things? He said, piece of paper. And they said, wanted to be a singer. And my friend went, what? I said, yeah. And my other friend goes, he looked for the newspaper to find out which job paid the most. And he was going to find that job. I thought, wow. I thought, God, that's smart. But then I thought, I'm going to be a singer. Yes, I've always known. So, yeah.
Over the years, have you had to look for different motivations?
Absolutely. Auditions are brutal. You go in, you sing, and they go, oh, thank you, and you wait, and then a reply. So, yes, learning, when you're younger, you just want to learn all the roles you want to learn and audition for the companies, and then, you get to a certain level, and then you think, is that enough? And then you look at other areas. So, like, the GAFA Arts Collective, which I started as progenitor in 2011, 2012, that was the bringing of my experience as a performer. I call myself a layered art experiment. So to a work which came out of honouring Samoa's 50th anniversary of independence here in London in 2012. So so I think I wanted to sort of go full circle and incorporate everything I've learned in the Western arts into, I'm just saying this now, I haven't thought about it, into a piece to celebrate our independence.
So basically, throughout this entire time, have you seen a change in the industry? Because I know you've just mentioned the industry. Has there been any development that you have particularly noticed, especially around inclusivity and diversity?
Absolutely. I think all the companies are trying to include. It used to be the global majority. That's the term now, right? So they're doing what they call blind castings as well. I think that might have moved on too. You'd have say Afro-Caribbean dad with a Chinese daughter in Rigoletto, or so their characters are the same, but it could be sung by anyone. Best person to sing the role. And then again, it could be a political thing, motivated by the way the society's going. Not everyone agrees with this, but that's art. So I have noticed a change in that, and people are getting used to seeing non-traditional castings as such. So as long as they can sing the role, really, I reckon.
So we're obviously with border crossing. Could you explain how you first came into contact with border crossing, with Michael in specific?
I'll explain it?
Yeah.
I can't remember when I first met Michael, but we did our first thing with Border Crossings Origins Festival in 2013. So our inaugural piece, which was GAFA, a family called Samoa, the GAFA Arts Collective. Michael came to, and he really enjoyed it. And then he included it in his festival program the following year. So it was a story of Samoa through film, dance, opera, Pacific dance, rap, a whole lot of different things, and people would move through the space. So it was a sort of layered art. So we had fine arts, we had sculptures, we had experiences. I call it a layered art experience for the audience. We know experiences, people use them a lot now. But back then, Tamika, no one used it. And when I said to my friends, it's a layered art experience, they went, what the hell's that? And they said, you should change it. I said, I'm not changing it. I'm not changing it because you question it, right? What is that? And then it sticks in your head. But now everyone's got experiences of blah, blah, blah. So that was that. And then Michael, I said to Michael, I've written a play about Fa'afafine, which is the third gender in Samoa. May I present it for the festival? So he said yes, we presented that. We've also opened a couple of the festivals with the other ceremony, which is like a welcoming traditional Samoan ceremony for people. So all the guests would come on opening night of the festival, and we'd offer them what we call the ava juice, which is mixed and then given in a coconut cup. So everyone would line up. It's what we do in Samoa. It was a ava whenua inga, which is like a ceremony of meeting. So it was meeting the guests and the artists, like about 150 of them, so we're sitting on the stage in our traditional gear. We did it a couple of times. So it's been great. He's been great to include us. And our work is good. So it's not like, oh, because you're a Samoan or you're part of the indigenous cultures, you can be part of it, because there's a level which I always only put out quality, because I think quality. Also, we're representing Samoa, so I need to think not just of the artwork, but where does it lie in the sea of the sea level of quality. And for me, it's got to be really top notch. That could be my opera upbringing, where everything's to be on time and strict. But it works out for everybody, because we're proud of all the work we've presented. Yeah.
Could you explain more about Fa'afafine, if that's the way you say it?
Oh yeah, Fa'afafine in the manner of a woman. So it depends. There's so many different definitions that have been floating around. I use the one that Yuki Kihara, which is the famous and renowned artist of Samoan and Japanese ancestry, which is in the manner of a woman. So you have a cisgender male who's raised as a female, dresses as a female, and does female duties as well as the male. And that's a Fa'afafine. So yeah.
So when you were exploring, I think it's in KAVA Girls.
Yeah, KAVA GIRLS, yeah.
Could you explain why you felt the need to put that identity, which obviously through a Western lens is less, it's not something that is the norm within the culture of the West.
Yes, that's right. And that's why I put it in. So every GAFA production, I've written all of them. So they would be, I'll always feature a Fa'afafine, because that's part of our culture. Every time knows a Fa'afafine. Because we're just there, we're everywhere. I'm a Fa'afafine, unless I identify as that. So it's just part of the everyday. And I wanted to put the Fa'afafine in KAVA GIRLS, which is about 3 understudies in the West End. One of them is Fa'afafine. And one of the reviews said, oh, there's a transgender character in it, a Fa'afafine, but you don't realize its significance until halfway through the piece. And when there's like transgender violence, which is what I was wanting to highlight. Because a Samoan will come from Samoa, Fa'afafine, and this is, roasted glasses, everyone accepts me. You come to the West, it's like, not really. Say we will beat you up, I'm not saying that doesn't happen in Samoa, but it's more accepted in Samoa to be that way. So that's why I put it in there. And when the review said, oh, it was as if she wasn't there, which is exactly how the Fa'afafine is. They're there, but they're not there. It's just part of...
It's the norm.
Yeah, it's a norm. It's a norm.
So obviously, the journey you've taken into the West, how have you navigated that identity within yourself? And keeping it to your culture and your upbringing, because to an extent there's a unique lens that your culture has put on it.
Yeah. How have I what? Sorry. Say that again.
How have you navigated
Yeah.
being in a Western society where, for example, that sort of thing is something that's such a
Yeah. Oh, it's I guess it's like being the first Samoan opera singer. When you walk into a space and everyone else is white, you're the only person who's not white in the room, and then you got to kind of slot. You know, already you're on the other. You're already the other. So, and growing up in Aotearoa, New Zealand, you knew that anyway because the predominant culture was white. It's white Kiwis, Caucasians, and then to add another layer of that, whawhawhinga, you know, it's just like, okay, you want to make life hard for yourself, yeah. So it's just been, I don't know, I've not known any different. I just you just do you. You just present, and then you hold back sometimes. You got to be smart. So not be in certain spaces, which is not fun, you know. But overall, so far it's been, yeah. School bullying was not fun, you know, but you get used to that. It teaches you resilience and I guess a certain reality that the world is not this. Like we're saying, you know, the young opera singers in Samoa when they go into the world, I say, well, the world's not like Samoa. It's not as lovely. Yeah. So it's you need courage and strength, just overall. But to exist that way, there's a certain fait accompli because it's who you are. Now, whether you want to hide who you are, it's up to you. Which I think takes more strength, you know. And there've been times that I've done that, you know. But look at me. Can you tell? I mean, please. Yeah.
So with your writing process, I'm sure all of that, with identity, I don't believe you can really separate yourself
Yeah.
from your writing. Could you give me like a synopsis of what your writing process has been in a general
Sure.
space?
If I'm inspired by something, I'll just write it. I'll just write it. And then I'll put it on. I can't give you a time limit. I can't because it took me 2 months to write the words and the music. So I wrote the music, and then I produced and directed it because it's my work, and also I save money, but also no one else can do it. Yes.
Only my hands can touch this.
And I shall sing it as well. But that's the other thing about being self-directed. But to get back to your writing process, if I am like I write it, yeah, I will often just write it and then that's it. I won't go and proof. Of course, I proofread it, but I write and then go back and then that's it. Present it because I think it's good, and it often is good. And people will say, "Oh, you could have done that." So if I could have done that, then it's your work, not mine. Do you know? So I wrote. If I had to write a play I wrote a play called The Third Country about the Australia's policy on refugees that bring them and then put them in these islands outside of Australia. Stop the boats policy. So when I wrote that took a lot of research, which is great because I don't know about Afghan culture, the Australia's keep Australia white policy, and then because I wrote that for the Royal Court Writers Group, and to be with those writers, I was like, some people can articulate beautifully, and then put it on the page. Now I can articulate, but not like those guys, But it was really inspiring, and then I just wrote it down. Yeah, so that gave me a bit more structure on how to do things. But I got into that group from my KAVA Girls group, which I just wrote, And I think if you just sit down and do something, you can end up doing great things. Mm?
Do you think there's power in exploring things that you are not necessarily an expert in?
Ignorance is bliss. I think, yeah, for sure. I think that's confidence, isn't it? I mean, And also, if you really believe it, if you want to do something, you'll do it. And if you don't want to do it and say you want to do it, you don't really want to do it. You know, I want to be a writer. Why are you writing? Some people say you have to write every day. I'm not a writer in that respect. I can write. I've written. I've presented it to the world. Because I know, and as a friend of mine said, there are a lot of manuscripts sitting in people's drawers. And they get published or they don't, you know. But I would just create and do it. It's never been an issue for me just to put my stuff out there. Because I believe in my work. And yeah, that's it.
Why do you believe in your work?
I have no idea. I've maybe because I've always been brought up around performing, performances, seeing things, church plays. When we were kids, my parents would say, "Get out here, do a play for us, or sing. You know, the guests come dance. Come on, perform for us." So, yeah, so you kind of measure. You start to learn how to measure how long an audience can stay, you know, involved, engaged, and then when to change the mood or, but yeah. And why do I believe my work? Because I just do. You know. I'm not going to question that because.
Yeah. Do you think that that level of self-assurance comes from a specific place?
My mother's a very confident woman. Just walk in the space and just own it. So I watched that. I watched the organizations, amazing organization skills, amazing. So we all learned that. So if I put on an opera, that's already done in my head. I know what goes where, how long the rehearsal should be, who to cast, how to cast it, all that stuff. Bring it to fruition. We did the Ring Cycle, which is Wagner's German composer, and he wrote this 4 operas, and they're really famous, and they're like 4 hours long, 5 hours long, 6, So we presented, like GAFA Arts Collective presented it, all 4 operas, and it was never been done before with the Samoan sensibility. So I cast it with everyone I'd met along my career, people who had heard their voice and you could sing this role. This Canadian Madagascar sang this role with Brunhilde, one of the hardest roles. Amazing. She got all the rave reviews. Ava Nicole, our Samoan soprano, co-founder, sang some other roles in the opera. But it was, and she got, it was lauded. So, but people go, "Oh, you did that," but it was always clear to me that how it would have happened. I always said, "We just book the venue and then everything else put into place." So, yeah, my mother had a real can-do. She organised charity events. Samoa had a cyclone. She got all the money together to, send the money home to Samoa. Very that way inclined. So maybe, well, not maybe, definitely that. And take no prisoners. Say what you mean and mean what you say, and make sure you got the right people around you. I have clowns, which I've kicked out. I see the red nose. Get up.
So in terms of your family, how much do you think they've played a part in your overall journey, in your life in general?
Oh, everything. I mean, they're seriously. What's so crying?
That's okay.
I know. Yeah, so there.
I can just tell that there's love and there's appreciation there. It's always very touching to see, I think. If you had to look back at everything in the grand scheme of things, is there a particular moment where you felt like I did something here? I've not necessarily made, because I think when you have aspirations, you never make it to the aspiration, but there's a satisfaction sometimes.
Like one particular moment.
A particular moment or a series of events.
I think it's probably about the first our annual production, GAFA Family Called Samoa, which I co-wrote that one with Stella Duffy. I value wrote a piece, Rosanna Raymond. She presented one section of it. It was bringing all those strands together, and it was based on the the journey of my great-grandfather, Iingopisa, who was the freedom fighter I was talking about earlier. And he raised my mum. So I should always talk about him. She was saying, oh, we need to do a story about Iingopisa because he was so fundamental to the independence movement of Samoa. And I was just sat in the back of my head, and then I said, well, we presented that, because when it happened in 2012, Samoa's 50th anniversary, I said, what's happening in London? There were Samoans here. We need to do something. But it was fueled, obviously, by my actual direct connection to the movement, the Mo movement. So that was probably the thing that started off our arts collective here in London. And I stopped singing at that point for a little while, which allowed my writing, producing to rise. Because everything was singing. It was all directed. That's I want to be a singer. And then when that stopped, because I had a bit of a vocal crisis, I had to bring everything else up, which had been dormant. And Tamika, as a young person, I would say, gosh, I've got all these skills. I don't know how to bring them all forward. You know, so you can be so focused on one thing. You've got all these other things that you know, like you say, if you want to just do something, can you just do it? But I knew that I had other things. Like you know this. There are other things in you that just might need attention or the light shine for it to come into fruition. So I stopped singing, and then I had to focus on other creative. You know, whenever anyone spoke to me about writing, and this was the clue over the years, friends said, I used to get terrified. I used to be scared. I used to go, oh, you're right. How can you can write? It never occurred to me that I could write, but that fear was a real sign that you should be writing, or maybe you could consider that. And then I just went for it, and I read a book called The Artist's Way, which said, by Julia Cameron, and it's full of exercises. And one of the quotes I remember was, the world rewards productivity, not perfection. So I was in that singing studio for hours and hours singing to myself, trying to get perfect, do you know? And yet, it doesn't exist. Get out there. Just get out there, right? So, yeah. So that's probably is that parent pleasing? Possibly. Is honoring my culture? Definitely. And it was great to bring everyone else along for the ride. You know, seeing other opera singers writing, everybody called writing, who's now the creative director. Because I was creative director of GAFA Arts Collective from its inception to 2021. So but now she's taking over. It's just really cool seeing what direction she's going to take it. Just see people do things they hadn't done before, and they realize, oh, I can sing. You know, I can. And we had different races because we had, 4 Samoans living there at the time, but everyone else out doing their rugby things. But so it was good to bring that other cultures into our culture, if you like. Oh, sorry. And then we took it to Guam in 20. I know. So we took that piece, a smaller version of it, to Guam for this Festival of Pacific Arts. We represented Samoa, which never happens because Samoa, it began 40 years at the time. Every time they do it, you can only have Samoan nationals. So I wrote to the festival. I had no idea you had to go through the Samoa government. I just wrote to the festival. They said, yes, come. But then they wrote back saying, no, you have to write to the government. So I wrote to the government, told them about my family called Samoa. They put it through Parliament. They had to go through Parliament to go through everyone's names and nationalities. And because they'd opened a new theatre section for the festival in Guam, we were the representatives. So there's 12 of us. We went. The original cast was about 40, and it was great. That's one of the highlights of my career. Also to see all the Pacific Islanders come for this one arts festival, it was great. And then seeing the Americans, they're colonizers of Guam because they have a military base there. Yeah, so that's probably so it's the same show, just initially and then representing Guam. And then I saw Tokirau come out, and we did the Parade of Nations, Tokirau came out. Yeah, amazing. That was like the Olympics.
Ooh.
In a stadium, yeah, right? And then Tokirau came out and started talking about the rising sea levels. That all their ancestral lands are going to be drowned by the sea levels, appealing to the Western governments. Just the thought of their graves being covered. And I was so jet lagged, but I was watching it with one eye open, and I thought I better write something about this. I wrote a musical called Baba the Bad Baboon about climate change, female empowerment, what else, and about corporate greed. And that was also part of the Oranges. It was like the workshop premiere of that piece um, for the Oranges Festival. So Mike was very kind to allow us to bring that, you know. So that was good. That came out of that too. I forgot. I just forgot.
Yeah, I feel like that it's always good to go through a bunch of things. 'Cause I feel like you don't realize how much has happened or how much you've done until you have that look back. It's like when you're removed from something and not in it necessarily, you have the perspective of being able to say, okay, I know what all of this is now, because when you're in it, you're not really cognizant of what it is or what it's going to turn out.
You're just doing it.
And it's I would like to think it's a beautiful thing to have retrospect.
Yes.
To be able to say, oh, okay, now I understand how big this was or how much I had to push for this. I think definitely it's just all, from what I'm hearing, just all impressive, and I would definitely love to actually get into it and to be able to potentially see all of this.
Yeah.
Is there a particular feeling you'd like people in like 10, 20, 30, I would even say next year, to look back at all the stuff that you've done and leave with?
I guess it's just a sense of understanding my perspective, because it's my perspective on world events, if you like, historical events, and how you can, I don't know, I think just enjoy the work, you know, although we didn't document a lot of it. Oh my God, I'm going to invest in budgeting for one of those cameras, because I tell you, I think just to maybe to lead with, if you can dream it, you can put into action, you know, and don't be afraid of falling on your face. And we've done that so many times and still here, you know. And things can be beautiful, because there is some beauty, you know. You make the decision, the right people come. Our lighting guy was Dominic Warwick, and he created amazing, you know, schemes. And I was like, can we have this? Can we have that? And then, so just seeing everybody come into their own, you know, to enjoy how great they are. You know, even some of them weren't that good, but it was great for their level, you know, to see that. And also as a producer director, to just accept shortcomings, or not shortcomings, but this is the best you can do, and I appreciate that. They may not be part of my full vision, but oh well.
Do you think that those kinds of shortcomings have more of like an impact?
Yeah, in the wrong way. No, yeah. But it makes you. I remember one time, because you know, kids would come to the rehearsals, and then I'll try to run the rehearsal, and the kids would be running around, and my inside I'm screaming, but the outside I'm going, that's fine. And so something I learned, you know, I said, oh, I'm going to use that. Now, if the child hadn't been there, I wouldn't have used that particular movement or how they, you know. So that's one thing that you can get out of it, because you can plan, and then out of some mistakes, or if I write a song, someone sings the wrong note or get the words in the wrong order. Oh, that's better. So yes, short answer is yes.
And in terms of your legacy,
Yeah.
you personally, I know legacy seems like you're clearly very useful.
Yeah.
Legacy always
There's so much more time to be.
Yeah, there's so much more time.
So much time. Too early.
So much more. So many more ideas to be put forth, but I do believe that a part of a legacy is leaving something for other people to benefit from.
Yeah.
And I was wondering what you would like people specifically to, when they think back to this, to your whole career, to be like, this is what he's left. This is what he's contributed to the industry, to Samoa.
Oh yeah.
To young people.
Yeah.
To opera.
What I wanted to think, that you can make an art form your own. You can rearrange the shapes, because with GAFA I wanted us to create our own shapes. So opera shaped the way that we would, well, actually how I want it to be, you know. So to be self-directed, I think, and that your culture can be, you can sort of fuse things together but still maintain your integrity. And you know, I'm a fusion of Samoa and Aotearoa New Zealand, English Samoan. You know, the cultures are, you know, becoming more blended as the years go on. So, and I guess that's reflected in the work that I produce. But just to, yeah, just you can do things if you really want to, you know, and just believe in yourself. Do the work.
Yeah.
Do the work. Make sure you know your craft. You know,
Yeah.
so it's because that's self-respect, and then everything else can come from that.
Yeah, because definitely, I think that definitely is an amazing message, especially in the current society that we're living in. It's a lot of conflict.
Oh yeah, for sure.
A lot of unity being broken in terms of the way people relate to one another in all aspects, not just socially but politically, spiritually. There just seems to be a disjointness. So I think that is a beautiful thing to want to leave people with, because I think a lot of the time it's in a lack of feeling like you have control.
Oh yeah.
Over your life. That
well,
makes sense.
Yeah. Well, control. Yeah, I understand, but we have no control. So I mean, that's not a new thought.
Yeah.
But, I just think you just believe, just put your money where your mouth is. Have the courage to be yourself. You know, anything I've written for myself. I haven't written it for anyone else. I've created for me because, you know, I thought I've got something to say. I got something to say. Here it is.
So do you think if nobody ever watched or saw any of the stuff that you've done, that would be
okay?
Okay.
There have been times when no one watched what I did, and that was okay. And I'm thinking my marketing needs work, which is true. If no one saw what I did, maybe. But I mean, it's kind of a moot question because people have seen it, you know. And so when I say I wrote it for myself, I wrote this opinion for myself, and I'm going to present it to the world. Now you can come and see it. You may not agree, and people haven't agreed, but that's not the point, you know. This is my point, my worldview with music.
It's a beautiful thing. Thank you so much for this entire conversation. I think speaking to people, it usually leaves you better off.
Oh yeah.
I would like to say that I definitely am better off after having this conversation.
Thank you, Tamika. It's very kind of you to say that.